BME23 professional beta male and human doormat. Somehow managed to land a girlfriend named Jessica through pure luck and pity. She's a solid 7'10", while I'm maybe a 4 on a good day with proper lighting. Been dating for 8 months, and she's constantly complaining about everything I do. Apparently my idea of fun is boring and predictable. My hobbies include playing video games, watching anime, and collecting manga, like some basement-dwelling gooner. She thinks all of this is childish and embarrassing, constantly suggests we do more adult normie activities like wine tasting and art galleries. Went to a wine tasting once and pretended to taste notes of oak and berry when it all tasted like grape juice with alcohol. She seemed impressed by my sophisticated palate, which was entirely bullshit. Start lying about liking classical music and foreign films to seem more cultured. Meanwhile, I'm secretly watching Attack on Titan reruns when she's not around like some coomer in hiding. One Friday night, we're at her apartment deciding what to do for the weekend. Suggests we could order pizza and binge watch some Netflix shows. She sighs dramatically and says, "God, you're so boring sometimes. Can't we do something exciting for once?" She continues. Ask what she has in mind, and she starts listing activities that sound like torture. We could go hiking or visit that new modern art museum or try that salsa dancing class. The thought of salsa dancing makes me want to commit Sudoku. Those all sound great, I lie through my teeth. She rolls her eyes and says, "You say that about everything, but you never actually want to do any of it. You're like a default NPC character with no personality." The NPC comment hits different because she's not wrong. Spend the entire weekend doing activities I hate while pretending to enjoy them. Go to some pretentious art gallery where people stare at blank canvases and call it minimalist genius. Nod along and make fake intellectual comments about the use of negative space. She eats it up and tells her friends how cultured and sophisticated I am. Feel like I'm living a double life as a fake cultured person. This pattern continues for weeks with me agreeing to everything she suggests. Go to poetry readings where people snap instead of clap. Attend wine and cheese nights where everyone talks about their creative projects, like pretentious Redditors. Take couples cooking classes where we make fancy dishes I'll never eat again. Every time I suggest something I actually want to do, she shoots it down. Can we maybe stay in tonight and watch a movie? Becomes a crime against humanity. She starts inviting her friends over more often to show off her improved boyfriend. They all talk about their careers and travel plans while I sit there feeling inadequate. Her friend Rachel asks what I do for fun, and I panic. "Oh, I'm really into contemporary literature and experimental music," I lie. Jessica beams with pride like she trained a dog to do tricks. Later that night, she tells me how proud she is of how much I've grown as a person. Realize I've completely lost myself trying to become someone she'll find interesting. Haven't played a video game in 3 weeks, and I'm going through withdrawal. Sneak off to the bathroom to read manga on my phone like some kind of addict. She catches me once and asks what I'm doing. "Just checking work emails," I lie while closing a chapter of One Piece. She nods approvingly and says, "That's my ambitious boyfriend." Feel like I'm slowly dying inside from all the pretending. My roommate notices I'm acting weird and asks what's wrong. "Nothing's wrong," I tell him. "I'm just expanding my horizons." He laughs and says, "You look miserable, dude." "When's the last time you played games with us?" he asks. Realize I can't remember the last time I did something I actually enjoyed. Next week, Jessica suggests we go to a wine bar with her coworkers. Spend 2 hours listening to them talk about their jobs in marketing and finance. They're all discussing their latest promotions and business trips. When they ask what I do, I mumble something about working in retail. The conversation immediately shifts away from me like I have the plague. Jessica looks embarrassed and changes the subject quickly. On the way home, she brings up how I should be more ambitious. "Maybe you should think about going back to school," she suggests, "or at least find a job with better growth potential." Nod along like the good little beta I am while dying inside. Start feeling like I'm not good enough for her in any way, not smart enough, not ambitious enough, not interesting enough. Begin having anxiety attacks about being such a disappointment. She notices I'm acting depressed and asks what's wrong. "Nothing, just tired from work," I lie for the millionth time. She sighs and says, "You're always tired lately. And you've been so boring to be around." The boring comment is like a dagger to my already wounded ego. Spend the next day spiraling about how terrible I am as a boyfriend. Decide to surprise her with something spontaneous and exciting. Plan an elaborate date involving a fancy restaurant and surprise concert tickets. Spend half my paycheck on this grand gesture. When I tell her about it, she seems genuinely excited for once. "Wow, this is so unlike you," she says. "I love this spontaneous side." Feel momentarily proud that I finally did something right. The date goes well and she posts pictures on Instagram about her amazing boyfriend. But then she starts expecting this level of effort all the time. Why can't you always be this exciting, she asks. Realize I've set an impossible standard for myself. Can't afford to do expensive dates every week on my retail salary, start going into debt, trying to maintain this fake persona. Credit cards maxed out from trying to impress her. Meanwhile, I'm miserable and exhausted from constantly performing. One night, we're at another wine bar with her friends. They're discussing their vacation plans to Europe. Jessica mentions how she wishes we could do something adventurous like that. Maybe we could go backpacking through Italy, she says dreamily. Her friend Sarah laughs and says, "Can you imagine him backpacking? He'd probably want to find the nearest internet cafe to play his little games." Everyone at the table starts laughing at this joke. Jessica joins in and says, "Oh my God, you're so right. He's gotten better lately, but he used to be such a boring nerd." Sitting there while they mock me like I'm not even present. Feel my face getting red with embarrassment and anger. "Remember when he wanted to stay home and watch cartoons?" Jessica continues. "I had to basically train him to appreciate real culture." The word train hits me like a truck. Realize she sees me as a project to be fixed rather than a person to be loved. Everyone's still laughing about what a loser I used to be. Something inside me finally snaps like a twig. Stand up abruptly and everyone stops talking. "You know what?" I say, surprising myself with how loud my voice is. "I fucking love those cartoons you're making fun of. And I love playing video games and reading manga. That's who I am, and I'm tired of pretending to be someone else." Jessica looks mortified and tries to shush me. "Sit down, you're embarrassing yourself," she whispers. "Embarrassing myself?" I laugh bitterly. "You've been embarrassed of me this entire time. You literally just told your friends you had to train me like a dog." Her friends are all staring with their mouths open. "I spent months pretending to like wine and art and poetry. I went into debt trying to impress you with fancy dates. I lost myself completely trying to become your ideal boyfriend." Jessica tries to interrupt, but I'm on a roll now. "And you know what? I don't give a shit about contemporary literature. I think modern art is pretentious garbage. And wine all tastes the same to me. I'd rather watch Attack on Titan than sit through another poetry reading. At least Aaron doesn't pretend to be someone he's not." The anime reference makes her cringe visibly. "You're acting like a child," she says through gritted teeth. "Maybe," I reply, "but at least I'm being honest for once. Unlike you who's been trying to mold me into someone I'm not. I thought you loved me for who I am, not who you wanted me to become." Her friend Sarah tries to defuse the situation. "Maybe you should discuss this in private," she suggests. "No," I say firmly, "I'm done with private conversations. I'm done pretending to be cultured and sophisticated. I'm done apologizing for liking things that make me happy." Jessica's face is bright red with humiliation. "If you can't accept that I'm a nerd who likes anime and games, then maybe we shouldn't be together." The entire wine bar has gone quiet watching this meltdown. Feel like I'm having my main character moment, like some shonen protagonist. Jessica stands up and grabs her purse. "Fine," she says coldly, "if that's how you really feel. Don't expect me to call you." Walks out with her friends trailing behind her, sit back down and order another drink. Bartender looks at me with something like respect. "That was either really brave or really stupid," he says. "Probably both," I reply. Feel simultaneously terrified and liberated. Go home and immediately fire up my PlayStation for the first time in months. Roommate finds me playing games at 3 a.m. "Welcome back to the land of the living," he says. Explain what happened and he just nods. "About time you stood up for yourself," he says. "She was turning you into someone else entirely." Spend the next few days expecting to feel regret, but mostly feel relief. No more pretending to understand art or enjoy wine tastings. No more anxiety about being cultured enough for her social circle. Go back to reading manga and watching anime without shame. Realize how much I missed being myself. Jessica texts me a week later asking if we can talk. "I've been thinking about what you said," she writes. "Maybe we can find a compromise." Stare at the message for a long time before responding. The compromise was me changing everything about myself. I don't want to do that anymore. She doesn't respond, and I don't expect her to start dating again. But this time I'm upfront about my interests. Put anime and gaming right in my dating profile. Match with a girl who actually likes the same shows I do. Our first date is at a manga cafe, and it's the most fun I've had in months. She doesn't try to change me or make me feel ashamed of what I like. Realize this is what a healthy relationship should feel like. Months later, I run into Jessica at a coffee shop. She's with some guy in a suit who looks like he stepped out of a business magazine. We make awkward eye contact and she waves. "How have you been?" she asks politely. "Really good, actually," I tell her honestly. "I'm glad you found someone who appreciates culture," she says. Look at her new boyfriend who's already checking his phone. "I'm glad I found someone who appreciates me," I reply. Walk away feeling like I finally leveled up in real life. My face when I realize standing up for yourself is the most alpha thing you can do. That feel when you stop being a people pleaser and start being yourself. Sometimes the best character development happens when you stop trying to be someone else's ideal character. Me 22, professional virgin, and female interaction failure. Decide I need to meet women, but my usual strategies of lurking in coffee shops and staring awkwardly aren't working. Browsing Reddit for dating advice like the pathetic coomer I am. Some normies suggest joining hobby groups to meet like-minded people. My autism brain thinks this is galaxy-level strategy. Scan local Facebook groups for activities with high female participation rates. Stumble across Feminist book club that meets weekly at local library. Description says they discuss empowering literature and welcome all genders. My virgin brain starts calculating odds of success. Feminist book club equals lots of women, plus they'll think I'm enlightened and progressive. Spend 3 hours Googling what feminism is, so I don't sound completely regarded. Read Wikipedia articles about gender equality and patriarchy. Practice saying words like intersectionality in the mirror so I don't butcher the pronunciation. Show up to first meeting wearing my nicest fedora because classy guys wear hats. Walk into library meeting room and immediately realize I've made a terrible mistake. Room full of women with short, colorful hair and problem glasses who look like they could bench press me. One girl has blue hair and about 17 piercings in her face. Another has a shirt that says "Men are trash" in bold letters. They all turn to stare at me like I just invaded their sacred safe space. Moderator is this intimidating woman named Brittany who looks like she eats soy boys for breakfast. "Welcome," she says with obvious suspicion. "You must be the new member." "Yes, ma'am," I stutter, like the social disaster I am. "Just call me Brittany," she corrects. "We don't use patriarchal honorifics here." Already messed up within 30 seconds of arriving. Take a seat in the circle and everyone introduces themselves with their pronouns. When it's my turn, I panic and say I'm Anon and my pronouns are he/him. They all exchange glances like I just revealed I'm literally Hitler. Apparently saying slash instead of the actual slash makes me sound like a boomer. This week's book is some feminist manifesto which I definitely didn't read. Spend the first hour listening to deep analysis about male toxicity and female oppression. Girl with purple hair named Riley starts talking about the symbolism of male violence. It represents the inherent brutality of the patriarchal system, she explains dramatically. Nod along like I understand while having no clue what she's talking about. Brittany asks what I thought about the protagonist's journey to overcome masculine oppression. Panic because I only read the plot summary on SparkNotes. I really connected with her struggle against toxic masculinity, I say generically. Riley immediately calls me out, asking for specific examples. Start sweating profusely while trying to remember anything from the Wikipedia page. "Well, men are the problem," I mumble desperately. "That's a very surface-level analysis," Brittany says condescendingly. "Toxic masculinity affects everyone, including men themselves." The entire room starts nodding like I'm some kindergartner learning basic addition. Girl with green hair named Sage starts explaining why my comment shows internalized misogyny. Spend the next 20 minutes getting lectured about the complexity of gender dynamics. Want to crawl under the table and disappear forever, but also kind of aroused by the attention. Meeting finally ends and I'm preparing to flee before I embarrass myself further. Riley approaches me as I'm packing up my unused notebook. "Hey, are you actually interested in feminism, or are you just here to meet women?" she asks directly. My face turns red as a tomato because she read me like an open manga. "No, I'm genuinely interested in dismantling the patriarchy," I lie through my teeth. "Because we get a lot of guys who think this is some kind of dating opportunity," she continues. "That's definitely not me. I hate men too," I say, while internally screaming. She gives me a reading list of books to catch up on for next week. Walk home feeling like I just survived a gender studies final exam. Spend the entire week skimming through feminist literature because I refuse to be unprepared again. Most of it is women complaining about men existing, which seems exhausting. Show up to second meeting, confident I can virtue signal effectively. This week we're discussing reproductive rights and evil male politicians. Feel prepared to agree with everything they say. Everything goes well until Brittany asks about real-world applications. Start talking about how men should probably just disappear. Accidentally refer to women as females multiple times during my pandering. The temperature in the room drops about 40 degrees instantly. Sage stops me mid-sentence to explain why using females is literally violence. Women are not a separate species, you misogynistic pig, she says coldly. Once again, I've revealed my complete lack of woke vocabulary. Try to apologize, but keep digging myself deeper into the cringe hole. Sorry, I meant birthing persons, I stammer pathetically. Riley actually face palms at my attempt to be inclusive. Just say women, you absolute Reddit moment, Brittany says with forced patience. Realize I'm like a bull in a china shop of gender politics. Meetings continue for several weeks with me making incremental progress at pretending, slowly learning to speak their language, and avoid obvious normie pitfalls. Start actually believing some of the shit they say, because constant exposure warps your brain. Begin to think maybe men really are the source of all problems. Develop weird guilt about being born male like some kind of original sin. Then the incident happens that ruins everything spectacularly. We're discussing some book about evil capitalism and male greed, having what I think is a great conversation about privilege checking, feeling confident and included for once in my pathetic existence. Cute girl named Phoenix mentions she's dating women now because men are hopeless. My autism brain immediately starts plotting how to change her mind. Spend the entire meeting thinking about whether I can convince her I'm different. Barely pay attention to the discussion about corporate patriarchy. After the meeting, I linger around pretending to organize my notes. Wait until everyone else leaves so I can talk to Phoenix alone. Hey Phoenix, I say with what I think is enlightened confidence. I know you said you're dating women now, but I'm not like other guys. She looks at me like I just revealed I'm actually 3 goblins in a trench coat. Are you seriously trying to convince me to date men right now? She says incredulously. Well, yeah, I thought we had a connection, I reply, like the social invalid I am. You do realize this is a feminist book club where we discuss male violence daily? And your response is to try to pressure me into dating you? Feel my soul leaving my body as she continues the verbal execution. Did you learn nothing from our discussions about male entitlement and lesbian erasure? Realize I've become the exact type of predatory male they spend hours complaining about. I'm sorry, I thought I was being respectful, I try to explain weakly. Respectful would be listening when women tell you what they want, she snaps. Not trying to convince them they're wrong about their own sexuality. Walk away feeling like I've been hit by a freight train of social justice. Phoenix obviously tells everyone what happened because the next week is pure hell. Walk into the meeting and the hostility is more palpable than my body odor. Everyone looks at me like I'm a literal rapist who just confessed. Brittany starts the meeting by discussing predatory male behavior in feminist spaces. This is supposed to be a safe space for women to express themselves freely, she says while laser focusing on me. Not a place for men to hunt lesbians like some kind of conversion therapy. Want to defend myself, but know anything I say will be twisted into more evidence. Sit there in silence while they passive-aggressively discuss consent and boundaries. Riley mentions how typical it is for men to infiltrate women's spaces with ulterior motives. Sage talks about how exhausting it is to constantly guard against male predators. Realize they're all talking about me without saying my name, like some kind of struggle session. Meeting ends and nobody talks to me or makes eye contact. Pack up my things in shame while they all chat about their weekend plans without including me. Brittany approaches me as I'm leaving, like the grim reaper of social justice. I think it would be best if you took a permanent break from the group, she says diplomatically. We need to maintain a safe environment for our LGBTQ members. I understand, I mumble, because what else can I say without making it worse? Walk home knowing I've been officially excommunicated from Feminist Book Club. My roommate Chad finds me stress-eating tendies and playing League later. How was your feminist indoctrination session? He asks with a shit-eating grin. Explain the whole disaster and he just starts laughing uncontrollably. Dude, you joined a man-hating club to hit on man-haters, he wheezes. That's like going to a vegan restaurant to sell beef jerky. Realize he's absolutely right and I'm a complete mongoloid. But I actually started believing some of their points, I protest weakly. Then you got brainwashed by a cult, he says bluntly. Normal women don't spend their free time discussing how much they hate men. Spend the next few days reflecting on what the hell just happened to my brain. Realize I approached the whole thing wanting female validation so badly I adopted their ideology. I started believing men are inherently evil just to fit in with angry feminists. My horny desperation literally made me hate my own gender temporarily. Decide to go back to normal hobbies and stop trying to infiltrate women's spaces. Download dating apps like a normal person instead of LARPing as a male feminist. Actually match with a cute girl who likes anime and doesn't think masculinity is toxic. Our first date is at a normal restaurant where we don't discuss patriarchy once. She laughs at my jokes and doesn't lecture me about privilege checking. Realize this is what healthy interaction with women actually feels like. Months later, I see Phoenix at a coffee shop holding hands with some butch woman. They both glare at me like I'm personally responsible for the gender wage gap. Remember how miserable I was trying to fit into their ideology? My Chad roommate was right. That whole scene was basically a cult. Run into Riley at a bookstore browsing the self-help section instead of feminist theory. She looks embarrassed and quickly tries to hide what she's reading. Catch a glimpse of the title, and it's about overcoming man-hating and finding love. Apparently, even the feminists eventually get tired of being perpetually angry, realize the whole movement is just damaged women coping with their issues, dodged a bullet by getting kicked out before I got fully indoctrinated, my face when I almost became a self-hating male feminist to get laid. That feel when you realize some women's hobbies are just advanced misandry. Sometimes the trash takes itself out and saves you from making terrible life choices.